the vibrant cityscape of Nigeria's FCT, a less visible but critical issue unfolds amongst indigenous communities. This is the apparent lack of priority given to education by the largely sedentary and highly rural indigenous inhabitants of the territory. The combination of lack and low level of awareness of education among the people indigenous to Abuja have historical, cultural, economic, and administrative antecedents. Findings reveal that up until 1976, when the Federal Capital Territory was carved out by the then military regime of late General Murtala Muhammad, not a single public school existed in the area. A trace of the educational background of the territory showed that period between 1980 to 1996 witnessed a quantum flip on the expansion in the delivery of opportunities for education in the territory. The number of primary schools skyrocketed, going from 54 to 210 within just 5 years. Documented accounts by Abuja reveals further that by 1989, there were 216 primary schools, and by the end of 2002, the count reached 285 public primary schools. There are currently 2,493 private primary and secondary schools spread across the territory. The curious but worrying scenario, however, is that the indigenous communities within the territory have remained generally educationally backward. This begs the question, why is this so? Were they excluded or neglected? Was this state of educational backwardness a community choice? In a broad sense, indigenous people are citizens whose forebears and children were raised on land that they assumed to be their ancestral homes and birthright until by dint of law or sheer power, they lose that land to new owners who claim it as theirs in the public interest or as booty won fair and square in war and conquest. In the case of Nigeria, the indigenous communities of the nation's Federal Capital Territory are those whose parents were born before 1976 on the land now designated as Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory. The people indigenous to the FCT, otherwise known as Abuja Original Inhabitants (AOIs), are the social category of people from 9 ethnic collectives of Amwamwa, Basa, Egbira, Gade, Ganagana, Bagi, Bari, Gwandara, and Koro. Along with our 4 collectives, Hausa and Fulani also live in the territory. In fact, the name Abuja was derived from the name of the then Hausa king said to have found the place on 1825 called Abu Bakr, but nicknamed Abu. Ja was given to him as a result of his fair-skinned complexion, hence Abuja. Ja actually means red in Hausa.
Ilimi shine ginshikin ci gaban kowace irin al'umma. Wane irin kima ne hukumar gudanarwa na birnin tarayya ta baiwa ilimi? Kasafin nawa ne aka ware wa bangaren ilimi? Ta yaya ake amfani da waɗannan kuɗaɗen da aka ware wa ilimi? Menene matsayin ingancin malamai da ɗalibai da waɗanda suka kammala manyan makarantu da kuma su kansu makarantun da ake gudanar da harkokin koyo da koyarwa? Domin samun amsoshi, kasance tare da Leaves and Worms a cikin shirin baje koli da faɗakarwa wanda ake gabatarwa a kowane mako a tashar AD4 TV Radio, wanda cibiyar Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism tare da haɗin gwiwar gidauniyar MacArthur Foundation suka ɗauki nauyi. A kasance tare da shirin.
An official projection puts the population of the indigenous people of the FCT at 450,000 households. These households are part of the current metro area population of Abuja, which as of 2023 is put at 3,840,000. The new definition of indigeneity means that one's biological father must be deemed to be a bona fide member of one of Nigeria's current 36 states known as the state of origin. The situation in FCT is a replica of the growth of new cities in several parts of the world where progress is built on the backs of indigenous people in a zero-sum manner. Often, the original claimants who lose out bear the brunt of displacement, while new inhabitants sometimes claim to have discovered what was always a known place, renaming it, reapportioning it. This situation is no different for the indigenous population of the territory, and in a more specific terms, education is among the major casualties, proving to be a complex challenge.
Educationally, we're a little bit down, but with times now, we're going up, we're coming up.
What has kept the place down educationally? What is the reason?
Sometimes financially, we have been. If you go to school, the money, the charges so high, so some people doesn't have the money to push their children to the school.
In 2022, the Center for Human Rights and Civic Education, CHRICED, at the climax of a month-long series of events to focus on the plight of AOIs on the MacArthur Foundation-funded project. Several issues were raised, including the right to land, livelihood, and essential social services and amenities, especially quality education and health. That platform also raised concern about the unequal representation of AOIs in government and governance structures. In this context, the entire territory is represented by one senator and House of Representatives each. Another drawback is that the original inhabitants of the Abuja do not enjoy constitutional recognition other than their citizenship, unlike other Nigerians originally from any of the 36 states of the Federation who can treat Abuja and the FCT as home and access opportunities. Many AOIs are hardly able to do so.
Our land has forcefully been taken away by government. That is where happens to be the source of our income, of which we use to pay for our children. Our land has been taken away
by chasing us away and proposing the development on us by grabbing our lands given to called developers. Then your source of livelihood. Let me tell you one. Land to life, life to land. When you deprive existence of human from this land to life, we have killed him. The indigenous people are being known for agriculture, and no provision for that again. You have taken over my land where I farm, pay my children's school fees. Now today I can't do that again. So how do you expect me to further my children to higher institutions? These are the problems.
While there have been moves to drive up enrollment of indigenous children in the territory's education ecosystem, such as scholarship grants to encourage post-primary education, many among the Abuja original inhabitants do not seem to prioritize education. Malam Abubakar Zuba, Dean at the Federal College of Education Zuba, aligns the situation with lack of appreciation of the importance of education as a means of empowerment and progress.
When Western education came in, there were reasons why our parents were rejecting it. One, they were not supporting the idea of boys and girls mixed up together in a class. They thought it was a taboo. That is one of the main reasons. Two, the issue of sending boys to school, leaving family, was a serious problem. That if you send your male child to school, the family is going to come back. And for the girls, just like I told you, do not even send them at all. And then traditionally, things were not done as it is now. to say you are sending your child, most especially when the school came, it was through missionary, and already Islam was already sedented. So most of them rejected the idea of the white man school, that is the Western education.
It's a stark reality. Indigenous students often find themselves entangled in behavioral issues, rarely advancing beyond secondary school. There are worries over the psychosocial effects of the trend of falling back to drug abuse by the youth among the indigenous Abuja folks.
Our traditional rulers, our religious leaders, government must be on ground, all hands must be on deck for sensitization to curb this societal menace that has to do with bad influence of the peer group, which largely became addicted to different, to dangerous drugs that, beyond affecting their health, retard their educational development. That must be changed.
Improper parental care causes a lot of things. There are parents that don't even look after the behavior, the movement of their children. You see, most of these children that are not well trained by their parents, those that do not receive proper care from their parents, they have a lot of strategies that they can easily convince the disciplined ones. Before you know, it will now be causing a lot of setbacks in education.
As a consequence of the prevailing educational status of Abuja original inhabitants, the standing policy of 1% equity in civil service appointments and recruitment for AOIs remain largely unmet, given that many do not have the educational foundation required to take up the slot.
I disagree with that. We all know the value of education for your personal purpose. Without education, without we being educated, you will interview me and I will be able to have something to say. So we know that either government job, not government job, education is necessary. Either by you acquire education so that you can be able to read your Bible or Quran. You acquire education because my mother couldn't access it, my father couldn't access it. I have to access it because if you give me 1,000 naira today, I should be able to identify this is 1,000 naira. So this is necessary for we. But I can tell you, government cannot succeed by wiping our generation with the one cunning way by bringing development and without giving us free education.
So you are saying that it's not true that original inhabitants shy away from education?
No, it's the government that is killing the education for the original inhabitants, not we shying away.
We see many of our graduates on ground, and this is Federal Capital Territory. They were supposed to enjoy to have some portions that are given to us, even through Federal Character Commission, but that position is not looked into for the indigenous. You will see that employments will take place in various ministries, but hardly you will see indigenous that are employed. Even if they go, because they don't have people on top, they will attend the interview, they may be successful in all the questions asked to them, but by the end of the day, when the list come out for the successful candidates, we will not see us there because we don't have people on top.
We have been denied federal appointments. How many of us are in FCDA today working? How many of us are in UBEB working? Had it been we are granted that chance of being into government, at least some of us, so many of us will be civil servants. They will also be part of the people planning for the sake of our children educationally.
It is evident that cultural and societal factors sometimes discourage families from prioritizing education. AOIs are said to be held back by some cultural norms and practices. For example, twins are still allegedly killed in the Kuje Area Council of the FCT, same for a child whose mother dies giving birth. It is also considered an abomination in certain parts of the AOI communities for a child to grow its first seat in the top row mass against the bottom row.
Education is the bedrock for the development of every society. What premium does the Nigerian government place on education? How much is budgeted for? How well are these funds utilized? What quality of teachers, students, and graduates are learning institutions churning out? For answers, join us on Leaves and Worms, an expository and incisive program showing every week on AD4 TV radio and supported by Wale Soyinka Center for Journalism, sponsored by MacArthur Foundation. Don't miss it.
A visit to the palace of the Agora Uzuba, the Sarkin Pada, Alhaji Muhammad Bachaga, was vehement in pushing off such cultural occurrences, at least not within his domain.
It don't happen here at all. It don't happen in our area here.
Are you aware of any part of FCT where it happens?
At all. I don't think. I've not heard it.
Government-run primary and secondary schools in the FCT are offered for free.
I don't think it's a reality. It's no longer happening. Because if you could see before, in those days, if they say free education, much amount of money will not be paid. But this time around, if 20,000 was paid for registration in junior secondary school or senior secondary school, last year it increased to 30,000. Now it may increase to 40,000, which is not mostly affordable by some of the parents. For me, it's no longer like that. I think it's better for us to go out and invite non-governmental organizations that will come up and be helping us.
Things are, however, changing with the times. Many of the younger demography of the Abuja original inhabitants are showing a greater embrace of schooling across the territory.
We are carving up now. Before, they don't go to school, but now they are going to school. Educationally, they are qualified ones now.
Presently, the level of students enrollment of indigenous per se now is very, very, very encouraging. It's at higher level. Students are competing from village to village, from houses to houses now. They want to see that they are all in school, and that one is going on. Only that they don't have much backing, no much scholarship, no scholarship for them. They are only trying with their parents. The little scholarship you can see is through area council, and how much do they give, and how many times in a decade. This is what is happening. But for example, here in FCT College of Education, I will tell you now that about 45% of the students are indigenous of FCT.
Yes. Yeah, by the time you sit on it, you can easily use this to turn, okay? You can't even turn it. It's stiff. It's okay, it's okay. Yes. It is rotary motion because it is rotating.
As a sign of the changing times, Zamani Yusuf is among emerging torchbearers of younger educated indigenous inhabitants of Abuja. He teaches the sciences in one of the private secondary schools in the heart of Abuja.
He told us about the white blood cell and red blood cell, and then he told us that the fight against diseases from our body.
Mr. Zamani is a very jovial man, and he's very kind, and he's good in what he do.
Quite okay. A good number of us don't go to school simply because the Western education gets to us lately compared to other parts of Nigeria. It is not until when the transfer of the federal capital down to Abuja that then we begin to see the need to enroll into formal school. And then, I will tell you that a good number of us are actually good in education.
While education in the FCT is one of opportunities and challenges, and while some significant investments are known to have been made to expand access to education, indigenous communities still face barriers that prevent them from fully embracing this path to empowerment.
We are saying, okay, fine, if you are taking over our land, make provisions, give us free educations.
But there's free education in FCT.
Where? Education is supposed to be given to original inhabitants free, compulsory. So that tomorrow, our children should not become terrorists and disturb the Federal Capital Territory. So that you can enjoy the peace in seat of the power. That if the seat of power has insecurity issue, there's no single state that won't face that.
Educationally, they should come to our heads. We should open more school to us, so that our children should go to that school and bring the price down.
AD4 TV Radio, we focus on education with emphasis on research and innovation, science and technology, women and girl child education, children, health, youth and sports, socio-political and economic reforms, security, environment, entrepreneurship, and entertainment. We'll give you information at your fingertips. Learn on the go. Follow AD4 TV Radio on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. AD4 TV Radio, reliable and credible.
We love you, AD4 TV Radio.